Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast. Your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Walking Dead Wednesday here on our podcast. You're listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. I am Sam. Joining me to discuss the latest things from The Walking Dead, it's my partner in crime, it's Stefan.
Yo, yo, yo.
I got lost in that intro then. I said podcast too many times.
And then it starts sounding weird.
Yeah, like you say that word too many times, it's weird. Also, if you notice that like everyone has a podcast now.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Listen to our podcast on. Hear our podcast on.
Yeah,
We've got a podcast. Yeah, okay, get it.
Yeah, get it. Everyone's got a podcast now.
We were there first.
We've been around. Yeah, we've been around a while. Yeah, like 2015, I think. Or early 2016. Yeah, late 2015, early 2016. This show started. So we've been around a while. But yeah, it's like everywhere. Every celebrity during lockdown, like obviously deprived of fan attention, started a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, some of them are quite good. But yeah,
I must be honest, I'm really bad. I listen to 2 podcasts and that's it.
Yeah, well, I listen to Fake Doctor's Real Friends, which is Zach Braff and Donald Faison from Scrubs.
That'd probably be worth listening to.
They're basically rewatching the entire series, and every episode is them talking about the next episode. But it started, like the first episode was like really kind of like, oh, this happened, funny story behind the scenes, oh, I remember this. Now it's just descended into like, hey, now we're talking about this episode, but what's the weather like?
Wow.
Yeah, they've just gone. And the show's like, a Scrubs episode's 30 minutes, the podcast ranges hour, 2 hours, them two just basically joking, laughing. So yeah, it's good fun.
Fair play.
Anyway, we are talking about The Walking Dead. We're talking about Season 11's 10th episode, and the title of the episode is...
New Haunts!
Yeah, I kind of like the title of that because it had a double meaning. New haunts being quite literally a new place you're living, and then we open up with what is in essence a haunted house.
Yeah, it's all got a bit Halloween-y.
Yeah, so I want to ask you about that. So the cold open is RJ, Judith, and Daryl inside this building. Now we've obviously watched The Walking Dead for a decade now. And we've had all these different situations where walkers and stuff are in houses and things, and I'm kind of watching this and I'm like, oh crap, where are they? We've had this 6-month flash forward. Is this actually taking us back before those 6 months? I'm like, where are they? What's going on? And then I realised none of them were carrying a weapon.
Yeah.
And I was like, Darren, don't tell me inside the Commonwealth, where the actual world is a zombie apocalypse where people are genuinely living that, they have a haunted house feature. And yes, they did. They had a haunted house feature. With a guy pretending to be a walker, no less. Daryl's like, that's enough, man. He's like, yeah, okay, sorry. I'm like, what? What the hell kind of warp-dash crap is that?
Yeah, like... We have haunted houses with zombies and stuff because zombie, yeah.
Yeah,
they have all lost people that they love to walkers. Yeah. Let's walk through a haunted house of zombies.
Yeah. Judith, like her mother, like her real mother, like Daryl has witnessed all of like some of his closest friends be eaten. And what? I mean, where I don't see that. I'm like, I don't understand what, and also I don't understand why the hell you'd go in there. But then it seemed to be that they went in there almost like a kind of, for RJ, like, come on RJ, we're going to go in here almost like a training mission. Me and Judith know what it's all about, but let's see how well you hold up to it. It was weird. I found
Judith
that like,
in the last episode was trapped in a basement with walkers trying to eat her. And in this episode, she's walking through looking a little bit like, oh, she's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
So what did you think about the cold open? I mean, I suppose in a way it's kind of funny and clever, but I just thought, why in the hell would anyone do that in this world? But you're mad.
Yeah, it was strange. I mean, my overriding kind of emotion from the cold opening was 30 days in the Commonwealth. Oh, Okay, we've had a time jump, but don't worry, the time jump hasn't actually happened yet. Scott Gimple, you wake up! That was my overriding emotion from the cold open. However, the haunted house of zombies in the zombie apocalypse is just weird, man.
It is, yeah. So at the end of episode 9, we saw Daryl in full Commonwealth military regalia showing up at what looked like to be the gates of Hilltop. And
Maggie and Lydia and that lot are all still at Hilltop, and
Well, we assume Lydia is, because they said, have you heard from Maggie and Lydia in this episode?
Yeah.
So I assume Lydia's with Maggie, which is a strange...
I wouldn't have imagined her leaving Daryl and stuff, you know? It's so strange.
But then Negan walked. And I think she felt a little bit like, but then Negan walked because of Maggie, so why would you, so there's, we're going to get all this information filled in by the looks of it, which is a strange way of storytelling, but we just got to accept that's the way they want to do it. We got to just accept it at this point.
This is how The Walking Dead works.
Yeah, the show's ending, so we've got to this point now, let's just crack on. It is day 30 in the Commonwealth, so this is 30 days after that Hornsby guy rocked up and said, hey, I've got a plan, and obviously a big group of them have gone to the Commonwealth. We get to see Jerry and his family very happy. That was nice for me.
And being given the tiger's collar. Whoa!
Yeah, that was kind of a strange and emotional. That was strangely emotional, I thought. That was
it shouldn't have been. It's a it's a CGI tiger's collar, and at the same time you're sat there going, oh wow, Ezekiel knows that he's dying, so he's now giving away his stuff. It's like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and you're right. You do get that impression straight away that Ezekiel's kind of like, I may be here and there may be medicines, but my numbers are up.
And he's kind of like making sure legacies live on around him, and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about is, so this is like a Halloween festivity, and we get to see the head woman, Pamela Milton, give a little speech, about the importance in all these festivities. And the best dressed, they have like a costume competition. And the best dressed wins lottery tickets.
I mean, the lottery is possibly the last thing I'd worry about in a zombie apocalypse.
Well,
what's the prize, do you reckon?
Yeah, no, this is what I was going to ask you. I mean, I've literally written lottery ? Because they do talk about currency again, and it's quite funny that you hear a couple of our survivors, the group that we know, sort of saying it's weird having to think about money again.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, well, I imagine, you decade plus living in literally the apocalyptic wasteland. So that was odd. But lottery, it doesn't, like, to me, I suppose it could just simply be a financial lottery. It could be, everyone's in it and you can earn some serious coin from it. But I do wonder if perhaps there's more to it, like a kind of a status thing, like a housing lottery or something, Because we do see as initiates, is like people who are there almost like in training barracks. They're in like
apartments suck.
Yeah, awful, thin, single brick building.
I think Daryl's compares the walls to paper.
Yeah,
and I think Rosita's got a leak or something. Yeah,
and you got a scene where Daryl's with RJ and Judith. And by the way, RJ and Judith are living with Daryl.
Yes,
that was
Uncle Daryl.
Yeah, that in itself again was a little bit odd for me. That was kind of like, I understand it, but at the same time, it's like, I guess I hadn't really processed who was responsible for them, or who is responsible. And it does take me back to the fact Michonne just left, and that still aggravates me. Like, I still can't believe someone would do that to their kids. I still...
Yeah, it's one of those... That was one of the weirdest things from that season, where she doesn't even go back. Like, we don't even get this big scene of her back and explaining to the kids, look, I'm gonna go find Rick and I'll be back. She's just ups and outs.
Just goes. I mean, it's the thing.
Marvel's calling. Back in a bit. Bye.
Yeah, I've got a better job. it just seems so out of character for her. You know, a loving mother, dedicated mother, who at that point had turned Alexandria into a fortress to protect the children because it's the children. Oh, there's a chance Rick could still be alive. Sod the kids, I'm off.
Yeah, if I find Rick, I can make more. Don't worry, let's go.
There you go. Yeah, perhaps that's what it was.
That seems to be the attitude there.
Yeah.
Judith's not mine anyway. It's fine. Off we go.
Savage, right? So it kind of that hit me again with that. I was just kind of like, yeah, they really have just been abandoned. These two kids.
Yeah.
And anyone, I mean, you're going to go now to who is left, I suppose. So
you ain't giving the kids to Carol, let's be honest.
No. Look at the flowers. No, don't look at the flowers.
Yeah. We're going to do some gardening today. No!
Carol walked into a building holding flowers in this, and I genuinely feared for everybody's safety.
Yeah.
That is basically a mobile look at the flowers bang device. It's game over.
Look at the flowers, there's a pistol in them. No!
Exactly, yeah. It's like, you know, like the fake joke flowers that sprays water. Hers has acid in it.
Yes.
So you got this situation where Daryl and Rosita are basically training to join the Commonwealth. I want to say military, but they act like police as well. So
yeah, it was a bit strange here because it's what I want to talk to you about.
Okay, bring it.
Because we've only seen these two out of all the people that entered.
Yeah,
these are the only two that look like they're going through training.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because they have chosen that will be their role? We're going to come in and do this stuff, or do you reckon they were selected by someone? As in, well, these two look like the best fighters you've got. We'll take them.
I think everyone has a skill set. Remember, like when Eugene and all that were being interviewed, like really quite aggressively.
Yeah.
I think the way the Commonwealth works is they identify what your skill set is, what you did before, you know, and then they try and bring you into their society to improve these areas. I mean, basically, it looks like Carol's baking, you know, which is, again, when Carol bakes cookies, the world's going to end. Ezekiel appears to be working with animals again. You know, he's a zookeeper. So
I love that. That was such a. He's gone from a tiger to a bunny rabbit.
Yeah, and seems to be loving it, by the way,
yes.
Which is nice. We're not really sure what Jerry's doing, but I mean, he'll have a role doing something. So whatever their
Jerry's
background
just security.
is. Yeah, I was about to say, Jerry just stands there and everyone's like, all right, mate, easy.
All right.
He's probably the only guy that Milton dude has to look up to, don't you think? Like, yeah. Literally. So you got this. I think that's what it is. Now, Rosita, I think her background was military. So
I believe so, because she came through with Abraham and...
Yeah. And Daryl's basically background's a redneck hunter. And so really, where are they going to go? And I think that's the avenue. I get the impression Rosita's picked it. I get the impression Daryl, that was his choice. Join the Commonwealth and do this, or stay in Alexandria.
Yeah.
He did hint at one point when talking to the kids they still have the option to go back, because he said that Alexandria's being, you know, obviously this is 30 days in. He said, you know, Alexandria is being repaired, and the two kids were like, no, we want to stay here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, perhaps he did have the option.
That showed to me just how much Judith appreciated the friendship of Gracie and that lot. That some new girl's talking to her. She's like, no, I'll stay here.
Yeah, to be fair,
I would like an allowance and I will stay here, thank you.
I do get the feeling that, you know, if you're walking around your entire life expecting death around every corner, and then all of a sudden you're in a place that is actually pretty secure and safe. Yeah, okay, I'll stay here, thanks. Yeah. Literally an army between me and the dead, yes please.
It is the first, though, people like Daryl, Rosita and all that lot will remember the world before.
Yeah.
To Judith, this is a whole new thing to her. Like, this is mind-blowing, surely.
Yeah, born into this, you know, and RJ as well, so... Very, but RJ, you know, RJ was literally born into the communities like Alexandria and stuff like that.
True,
whereas Judith was born into the wasteland of
into an overgrown prison.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of crazy, but yeah, Daryl and Rosita are going through this training. They're running this drill, and we get to see what I think is one of the coolest Walker kills in a while, where Rosita breaks a Walker's leg and then stabs him through the skull with the broken bone.
There's a saying about I'm going to rip your arm off and slap you with the soggy ends.
I know, right?
This takes that to a whole new level.
Big time. I loved it though. That was
such a good kill.
You're 11 seasons into this show. You've got to be running low on Walker kill ideas. That was fun.
Yes.
That was good.
Unexpected but awesome.
Yeah, very much so. They get a bit criticised. Well, Daryl gets criticised for being a bit of a lone wolf. Shock.
Yeah, you don't seem a team player. No.
But also, the guy who's training with him was an absolute Bambi ass. Which was aggravating. But again, I think a little bit there of, like we said, Rosita's background was military, far more team emphasis, far more likely to understand the role she's being put in. Daryl's just like, well, I got to get from here to there, don't get in my way.
Yeah, he even like gives the knife, like, yeah, you take the knife, I don't care, let's go.
Yeah, bring it. Yeah. So we also get a scene with that Sebastian Milton.
Is this guy the worst military trainer ever?
I've written down here my note, and it's quite a... I don't know, you may... Tell me how you read this note. Sebastian Milton equals cockwomble.
I mean, that's a nicer word than I've got.
Yeah.
I can't say the word I've got, because I think we'll be R-rated.
Yeah, no, don't. Yeah, don't say it. You can't say that word.
Yeah. What a...
Yeah, what a total James Blunt. He absolutely personifies the arrogant attitude of every single, rich person's kid that everybody hates. And you watch teen high school movies back to the 80s up to now, you watch every TV movie, and he is the stereotype personified in The Walking Dead. And I don't think the show needs that, because I hate him. I hate him so much.
Like, in the last... I was going to say the last series, it wasn't. It was in the first half of this series.
Yeah.
We obviously see him when Eugene saves him, and we see how he acts and stuff to that. Yeah. And it took me a couple of minutes to realise it was the same guy.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he started talking, I was like, oh, it's this one.
Hate this guy.
Yeah.
Look, and he gets first pick over the new weapons that have come in with, like... And you got Judith Katana, and he calls it a toothpick and throws it on the ground. I mean, I'm just like looking at this guy like, okay, he needs to die.
Yeah, 100%. And then he starts swinging the mace thing around, and Daryl's like, no, you need to swing it. I don't care.
Yeah,
you get to swing it. Yeah. Well, I'm like, we really don't need this character.
No, we don't need.
There's enough characters that annoy me in this. Don't give me this guy.
So come on. Mercer kind of. I don't know. I find Mercer really interesting in this episode because up to now he's just been kind of like a stoic, soldier.
His facial expressions. He's literally face palming himself every time that bloke speaks. Yeah. He's like, oh god.
He does have a look on his face of just like, I hate everything about you.
It's fantastic because he is literally a background character in this scene. But his face, if you watch it, his facial expressions are like, oh, shut up.
Yeah, please shut up, please shut up.
Fall on the katana, please.
It's interesting as well. He says to Daryl about Daryl, like, he obviously likes Daryl. He obviously rates Daryl as someone who can be of benefit to his military, if you like, his police.
Yes.
And he kind of says to him, like, you need to get out of your own way. This kid is what he is. Don't antagonise him, don't get on the wrong side of him, get out your own way. And it does lead to Daryl later on making a bizarre decision to get on the right side of him, which seems to lead to him being able to get a uniform.
Yes.
So clearly this society, the Commonwealth, is as corrupt and as messed up as the real world.
I was going to say, it's very realistic.
Yeah, very realistic. So one of the storylines I want to just pick out, and we'll talk about it before we dive a little bit further in, is you really didn't like the Carol storyline in this episode.
Yeah, so the storyline evolves as the episode goes on.
Yeah, it does.
But the first thing we kind of see of Carol is, oh look, Carol's somewhere safe and there's people that are getting to know them. I'm going to betray all their trust by breaking into somewhere and doing stuff I shouldn't. And it's like, oh, for Christ's sake, Carol, here we go again.
Don't you think the motivations of why she's doing it is valid, though?
Motivation, yes. My problem is, and I think I messaged you and said, it feels like Carol's story arc is just repeating itself over and over again. Like, I'm going to do something really stupid and put the group in jeopardy. Yeah. But then it's going to be forgotten about and I'm going to be a good guy again. And then I'm going to do something else to put everyone in jeopardy. But then it's going to be forgotten about and not spoken about again. And it just kind of like goes round and round like constantly at the moment. And I'm just like, I get it. She can't die. She has plot armor. Fine. But just stop making her be a dick.
It's funny because I don't know. I do know what you mean about the kind of the repetition a little bit of her character and this kind of, she seems to have this innate ability to go, oh look, everything's good right now, let's blow that up.
Yeah.
But
I understand why she's doing it because Ezekiel and stuff like that. But then at the same time she's done that. And then by the end of the episode, her and Ezekiel are cuddled up on a sofa drinking wine.
Yeah.
That she stole from outside the wall.
Yeah, so this is the thing about Carol's character which I found quite interesting. In amongst all of this, she identifies that he's hiding how he is. She breaks in like a friggin' secret agent into the hospital to get to the records.
I love the bump in and keys. Whoopsie.
Yeah. I mean, so it's kind of like you're seeing that Carol as a character from that shy, beaten housewife in season 1 up to now. The evolution is off the charts.
Yep.
But the what's interesting is her kind of the way she goes about things now is a little bit more manipulative or a little bit more kind of sneaky in her ways. Like, so she identifies, okay, I need to get Ezekiel up the list. Now, Carol in season 3 would have started killing people on the list.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that.
Only 135 deaths to go.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, so when she's there like, oh, what number is he? I'm thinking, I swear if this says like 5, we're going to see her slit 4 people's throats in the next few weeks.
Here, have a cookie laced with arson.
Yeah, because she can be pretty dark back then.
Yeah.
Someone coughed, set fire to them. Like, whoa, look at the flowers, Lizzie. So she basically, in this instance, identifies that and then is like, okay, so how do I get him further up the list? How can I do that? Her character's evolved from the kind of, okay, what's 100 people I need to kill, to I need to get on the right side of the person who can make this happen.
Yep.
She identifies Hornsby, sees that Hornsby's getting pissed off about the wine selection isn't right and he's getting aggravated. So she goes and finds out the wine that this woman likes, and then she sneaks out of the Commonwealth to an old wine cellar, in essence.
Yeah.
Finds the stuff, kills a few walkers, no peril because it's Carol, and we know she's got a spin-off series.
Yeah, there's a moment in it where a zombie falls on her, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, well, nothing's going to happen. We know she's fine. So she gets that. She gets back to this guy and starts to do a deal. Now, the thing I found also interesting in this as well is he picks up and he's like, so you found a way to get out?
Yeah.
And she just kind of smiles at him. And I'm kind of like, again, this character, this, Susie Homemaker thing, this act that she does where she's baking cookies and all this stuff. But if you actually think about what she's doing here, the Commonwealth is a militarized, secure place. So she is able to sneak in and out without anyone knowing. She's able to break into the hospital and go for the records. Really, she does get caught in that, but caught by someone, luckily, who knows her, or has been introduced to her.
Who is a doctor, so he is fecked.
Yeah, I do feel for that guy, actually.
You're only allowed one doctor, and they've now got an entire hospital of them.
I did think it's kind of funny as well how much he didn't want to be a doctor in the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
He really fought hard. So the actor clearly saw his role and went, nope.
I don't want it!
No, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to do it. They all die hideously. I mean, if Negan shows up, you just stay away from a furnace. But yeah, so she's done all, and you can almost see like that Hornsby guy's kind of like, oh, I like you. You're a useful person. We don't really see a deal get done in this instance, but we do see later on that she's in essence working for him now, almost like a secret agent for him.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing on the basis of bumping Ezekiel to the front of the line, or at least moving him up the list. It's going to be interesting to see how much or what she's being asked to do, because I get the impression that Hornsby guy and Pamela Milton are not simpatico.
No, I worry for what. No, I don't. Do you know, I don't worry for where this is going to go because she has a spin-off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be a case of I'd really worry about where this could lead, because he could ask her to do the wrong thing. She gets into a lot of trouble, and then she's in a lot of trouble. But actually, the worst that could happen is nothing.
Yeah, no, I know. It's an odd one. Also, talking about Mercer a minute ago, what do you think about the weird kind of like gala thing they're having? And Mercer rocks up, and he's like a celebrity. Like, people are chanting and applauding him.
It was so funny. Mercer, Mercer, Mercer. Yeah. And it's like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, that was odd. Like, and again, you saw that Hornsby guy a bit like, oh, hi, everyone. Oh, no, not for me. Great, cheers.
Yeah. He's very much an understated character, it would seem.
Well, it appears that he considers himself a vital cog, but no one else does. Do you see what I mean by that?
Very much like, get that feeling, don't you?
Yeah. But Mercer, a bit of a celeb, doesn't like being suited and booted at this thing. You can see that. Invites Princess to be his date. That was kind of interesting.
So, with Princess, what do you think? Is that a genuine romance blossoming, or is she working an angle here?
I have no idea with that character. She is batshit.
Yeah. I'm wondering, like, I'm looking at it and I can't quite tell if she's genuinely like, hey, I fancy this guy.
Well,
I like the authority, I fancy this guy. Or she's like, I can get some information and help my group out. Because she's not been part of the group for more than a few weeks.
No, and also, you know, she basically met Ezekiel, Eugene on this journey they went on. Mm-hmm. She doesn't know anyone else. No. She got introduced to them clearly because I think she says to like Judith, like, oh, you know, it was nice to meet you, or you know, something like that, or knows who she is.
Yeah.
But she's got no affinity to any of them. You know, she doesn't know them. She's not survived with them. They all just know her. Oh yeah, you're Princess that Eugene met. You know, we had the king and the princess. Very weird.
Yeah, you're the nutter.
Yeah, you're that one. Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't know. I get the impression with her that's probably just genuine. I think she's like, ooh, nice guy. I want you. She's crazy as a box of frogs. Mercer seems a decent guy in this episode. There's like a fair few things throughout the episode, and you get the impression that he's doing certain things, and but he's like basically doing what he thinks best. I mean, he's doing what he's told, but he's doing what he thinks best the majority of the time. And he obviously feels that the Commonwealth is, you know, the way forward. He obviously feels that the safety of that place is the way, and he does look awkward as hell going to this gala thing. Like, I'd much rather be out with my uniform on doing whatever.
Yeah, the suit's not red. I don't like it.
Yeah. So Mercer's an interesting one. Typically with stuff like this, I always look at that and think, oh, he seems really decent. Gonna be a baby killer. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Don't trust anyone in The Walking Dead. Yeah.
No. We do have this situation then where this guy who's posed as a waiter snaps during Pamela Milton's speech. One of my notes here, by the way, is who in the hell was Pamela Milton's father?
Thank you. Yep. He was in the White House.
He was in the White House. So was he president at some point, or was he someone? I was like,
he was a waiter in the White House, but no one told him that. Like, what did he do? He shined the shoes.
Because we do get a scene between Daryl and your favourite speedster, whose name I can never remember.
Connie,
thank you, man. And she's a journalist again. You know, she was a journalist before this, and she also reveals a little bit that she was the reason that Pamela Milton's grandfather or uncle got kicked out of Congress or something like that. And it was kind of funny because one of them was talking about Pamela Milton being someone she recognised before all of this.
Yeah.
I think it was Carol was sort of like, oh yeah, I used to watch all that TV. I used to watch all that stuff. I know who she is. It's weird seeing her.
So she must have been someone. Like, she must have actually been a someone.
Yeah,
before
you kind of feel like perhaps like the Chelsea Clinton, like the Clintons in the White House, and everyone knew who Chelsea Clinton was, their daughter. And so it kind of feels like perhaps Pamela Milton is that, if you see what I mean. Perhaps the father was the president or vice president or something, and she was a minor celebrity because of that, like reality celebrity. So, yeah, it's strange. I'd like to find out more. I mean, she unveils this portrait, and that guy slashes it, by the way, which is kind of brutal. She said this woman spent months making it.
Yeah, it's taken her months to get this perfected. Sliced.
Sliced. Oh. It's like, oh, dude, that's so cold.
That's not going to be fixed by some sticky tape on the back of that. That is...
No.
Oh.
Also, what the hell is it with, like, people having portraits made in the zombie apocalypse right now? You got Fear the Walking Dead. and now you've got it in The Walking Dead as well. You're just like, seriously, just take a picture of that stuff. That technology does still exist.
AMC have signed a contract with some canvas producers.
Clearly, yeah. Or sponsored by now, like art supplies.
Yeah.
So I think this information, it'd be interesting to find out a little bit more about the founding of the Commonwealth. It'd be great to kind of get the bit more of a background, because she talks about the sacrifices her father made to ensure all of them have got this. I'm like, okay, I want to know more about that.
There was that little part of me that was like, oh, imagine if actually her father was the guy that was in the Fear the Walking Dead that Alicia was following, like the lead thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
No, I mean, that could have been a great tie. And then I went, I'm pretty sure his name was nothing to do with Milton.
No, it wasn't. He was like Hispanic, from memory. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, also it doesn't appear that there is any tie across between the Commonwealth and the mob that they're running into in Fear. So yeah, and also of course we know Rick's with that lot. So again, it's very confusing. It's very different to the comics. So yeah, it's I mean,
do you reckon that'll be the tie? Will be a war between the CRM and the Commonwealth.
And the Commonwealth would be interesting, or whether they, there's a clash at some point, and the CRM general who's come for negotiations happens to be General Grimes. Like, what?
Send Dixon to talk to them. They look, brother!
Yeah. Two opposing armies ready to go at it, and the two men walk out in the middle, take off their helmets, and like, what up?
I know this guy. We're friends from work.
Brilliant crossover. Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be it. And if they ended the series with them two just having a hug and going like, yeah, we're not fighting. Yeah, we're off to Atlanta together. We're off to see the wizard. It's off to go. Anyway, enough of my stupidness. You see Daryl just skipping into the distance. So yes, we see, like I said, we see now RJ and Judith. We get to see the situation happen with this guy with the knife, and he's shouting about all these different things. He shouts about visibility for workers, equality for all. And so I wrote that down. So I was kind of like, okay, that's not a throwaway.
No, that's there for a reason.
That's there for a reason. So I wrote that down, and we get to see Daryl capture this guy and then hand him over to that annoying little prick. But, again, a smart move by Daryl, because the next time we see Daryl, he's fully kitted. He's now a fully fledged soldier of the Commonwealth.
Yep.
Loving his uniform. You can tell he's really into that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that fits on him like a glove on someone with 7 fingers.
Yeah, nice. And Judith looking all like, I guess Judith's going to school, I guess. I don't know. She was looking very non-apocalyptic chic. She didn't have the hat, the sword, nothing.
There was no little ass kicker there, no.
No, exactly. She's Judith, not little ass kicker right now, which not sure how I feel about this. I don't know. Judith needs to be walking around with a katana and that hand cannon.
And the hat. She must be wearing the hat at all times.
Yeah, where is the hat? This is important stuff. But they've had a accommodation bump. They're in what looks to be a house. No longer the paper thin walls with every asshole under the sun. Judith, by the way, bought a record, had a record bought.
She's been given a record, yeah.
Yeah, Motorhead. She's like, have you heard of them? I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
This young kid that's probably never really heard music before. No. This is your introduction.
Yeah. Welcome to music. Here is Motorhead.
What is this?
Bring it on. It's like Daryl's just like, yeah, Good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got any Megadeth in there, what? Yeah, bit of Twist the Knife Slowly by Napalm Death, love it. So we see that accommodation bump, and we get to see him in his new military regalia. And like I said to you, like they're military, but they're also acting like the police. They're like the military police, I'm guessing. And they launch an investigation. This Pamela Milton doesn't like this idea that this waiter says, "Oh, there's thousands more of me," and she turns to that Hornsby and goes, "Is there?" And he's like, "No." She's like, "Well, make sure."
Yeah, there's not, is there?
And then we see, I think it kind of jumps on it, day 33. So this is 3 days after this. Daryl's in his uniform. Judith's listening to Mirrorhead. Rosita does this raid and finds a hidden room inside the Commonwealth, and it looks like an underground kind of movement. Visibility for workers, equality for like protest signs.
Yeah.
All over. It would appear that within the Commonwealth there is very much a two-tier system. There is very much a class system.
You are higher class or you are the working class. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few lines about how the other half live and stuff like that, and you see these people having this party and this function, all their champagne and wine, and like, ha 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 ha, isn't the world wonderful?
And then the likes of Daryl and stuff are just stood on the stairs like we're not allowed in.
Clearly there is a growing feeling of discontent, which I'm guessing Pamela Milton's going to want to put down pretty hard, which is, I'm guessing, where the storyline's going. So yeah, there was a lot in that episode, but at the same time, I didn't. The episode 9 felt very like all the storylines ran forward, and there were several times I just went, "Whoa, what the? Oh, bloody hell!" In this episode, it felt very much like, and don't get me wrong, I know you can't pace it all the same, but this episode felt like they threw the anchor out the ship and slowed everything right back down. It could just be me. It could be because I don't like the non-linear aspect of it. You did this 6-month time jump, and now we're going to go back and fill it all in. So I'm kind of have that, I think, dread feeling of the next episode's going to be day 30 inside Alexandria. And then the next episode is going to be day 30 inside. It's going to be like, oh, really?
Yeah, it's...
Really?
it kind of makes, like, that end scene from the last episode where Daryl's outside, you're like, what the fuck? What is going on? And then this episode, you're like, I want to know what's about to happen between Maggie and Daryl. This is...
Yeah, I'm going to have to wait a few weeks by the looks of it. Yeah, I mean, like I said...
I've got the synopsis for next week's episode.
Okay.
And, yeah, it looks like we're just carrying on from where we are, and it's just going to be a case of, at what point in the future are we going to get that time jump back to...
fill in the gap away from the Commonwealth. Yeah,
because I use IMDb to kind of get the bits and pieces for it.
Yeah,
and what confused me is that obviously does America still get these a week before, or is it just the AMC Plus?
AMC Plus get them a week before,
because the next episode apparently came out on the 27th of February. And I've opened that up and gone, wait, what? How does that work? And obviously AMC Plus. So that's where they kind of get their synopsis and stuff from.
Yeah, AMC Plus is 7 days before, and then it airs on the Sunday, and then we get it Disney Plus UK on the Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Strange way of doing it.
Were there any other things from this episode you wanted to pick out? Because for me, I kind of feel like I covered it.
I'm going to run through. No, I think... I liked the Connie and Kelly kind of interaction of her being the journalist and the reporter's friend again. And
at the risk of us losing a massive chunk of audience again, I'm still not buying Carol and Daryl as a romantic couple.
No, she's cuddled up with Ezekiel again. She's cuddled up with Ezekiel and Connie's back. I don't care what anyone says.
Daryl and Connie look a nice match. Carol loves Ezekiel to the point that when she saw his medical records burst into tears. Yeah. And this woman is moved by very little. So yeah. And like you say, they're cuddled up together again. I don't know whether they've got romantic future because of the spin-off probably, but I don't see it. I still don't see it, and I know it's like a massive thing and people get quite hostile about it, but
yeah,
I just wish that you could have platonic relationships in TV, you know, and it's like been one of the best ones. If it stays that way, great. You know, I'd actually be more pleased than oh, and they end up together, yay. It's like, no, not all. What message do you do in doing that in every TV show and every film to boys and girls out there? It's like, oh, you can't actually be friends because one of you always wants to nail the other.
But no, you're right. You're right. Like, they have a brotherly, sisterly thing. Leave it at that.
Yeah, a friendship which is endured, and let's face it, it's been pretty tested of late. And Daryl's been far more forgiving than I ever would be.
Carol has been a dick on a regular basis.
Yeah. So,
and like that's one of the things that worries me about this spin-off, because if they do the spin-off correctly and they leave them as like a partnership, getting through the apocalypse for whatever reason.
Yeah,
could be a really good show.
Potentially,
if they then force it into a, well, the audience has been waiting 10 years having a go at us for this, let's make them a couple, I will be switching it off.
Yeah.
I don't care how good it is, if they make them a couple purely on the basis of, well, the fan base have been calling out for this. You know, there's nothing there that makes me go, that's a couple.
Yeah, I hear you.
But at the same time, keep them as a partnership and they're on a road trip / mission for a reason. I could be invested in that.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Oh, God, it's going to be Carol and Daryl trying to find Rick. We're not actually going to see Rick at all.
Let's not. Let's leave that there.
God.
Let's park that potential hell. A massive thank you to everybody for continuing to listen. We really appreciate it. Please do get in touch. You can find us on all the social medias and all that fun stuff. We are now using the hip, young, cool thing of TikTok, where we put out theory videos and kind of like discussion stuff for all the shows we talk about and more, really.
We even
our
do
TikTok account.
Podcast previews.
Yes.
And everything now.
Yeah, cool. It's frightening how efficient we are. But, a big thank you again. We did get a couple of emails in last week after the show, so thank you to those people for reaching out. I hope we've covered all the stuff you wanted to hear covered. We will be back, of course, next Wednesday.
Yes.
Discussing, and is next Wednesday your last show for a while? Or am I early?
Wait, let me... Yes, it is.
Yeah, because you are going off to the great beyond for a few weeks. So following that, I will have a very special guest joining me, possibly for a couple of shows, maybe one and then somebody else. You're going to have to listen out for that. But yeah, big thank you to you. Big thank you to everybody for listening. We'll be back real soon. You all take care.
That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.